Now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We got things to talk about on the Ireland Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Susan, and thank you for tuning in to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh. Give me a call. 412-575-2600 is the number. My co-host tonight, Ron Cook, and we're going to be talking about the Steelers' new hire. Official today, Randy Fichtner will take over as the offensive coordinator. He'll also retain his duties as quarterback's coach. Also, some other official news today. The Pirates officially announced the signing of Felipe Rivero, a 4-year, $22 million guaranteed deal. Obviously, a club-friendly deal with 2 years option. He could potentially make $41 million, and I would imagine that they're going to pick up those club options, Ron, if he's still with the Pirates. This is a deal that I can't believe they somehow got Felipe Rivero to sign, but, you know, good for those guys.
Yeah, I mean, they've done this before. They were able to get McCutcheon a number of years ago at a really great price, and that turned out tremendous for the team. They did this with Jose Tabet. It didn't work well. They did this with Polanco and Marte. Jury's still out on those deals. This is an unbelievably friendly deal. If Rivero keeps pitching like he did last year, who knows? A little bit of good news. You know he's going to be around. But again, the Pirates wouldn't have signed him if they would have had to pay like what you would think top closers get. And my understanding is the Players Association is going to be really furious with this deal because he kind of undercut everybody else by doing it.
He had his sister negotiate the deal.
She was his agent.
She was his agent after they fired Scott Boras. And
Boras wouldn't have signed this deal. I'm fairly confident in saying that.
No, when the guy can almost make $20 million a year if he keep.
Now, who am I to tell the kid to turn down $22 million?
No.
I mean, I get that he's financially set for life, but in the economics of baseball, this is really a poor contract for the kid based on what his potential looks like.
Okay, Ron, what I want to see, though, to talk about the Pirates a little bit, what I want to see is the $20 million or so that they save by trading these guys away. I hope if they're somewhat truthful to us and they can, you know, they continue to talk about they're going to put a winning team on there and they're going to spend that money. I want to see them spend that $20 million on this roster.
No one is spending on free agents this year. The market has been so bad. To me, it looks like teams are valuing draft choices and young prospects more than they ever have, even the bigger market teams. Now maybe some of these moves, the Garrett Cole trade, maybe that'll open up some of the pitching free agents. But there's players out there to be had right now, and the Pirates certainly have some money to add. We'll see if they do. I kind of have my doubts.
Yeah, I have my doubts too, Ron, but I think they have to do good for some fans at least right now, some goodwill, and spend that money. And if they don't, then I think that's more of a reason for Pirates fans to be even more upset. And if you saw that petition that's going around, it's up to 50,000 signatures. That's more than PNC Park holds right now. And I don't know. I don't think we're going to see a sold-out opening day crowd.
Well, Pittsburgh's an event town, and usually no matter what the team looks like for 20 years in a row they lost, opening day is a big day. I would expect if the weather's nice, they'll have a sellout after that. I don't know. I don't think this petition's going to do anything. Bob Nutting's making a lot of money, and he wants his fans to be happy. But you know what? He'll settle for going to the bank, in my opinion.
You know, telling email that we got from a viewer out there that was sent to Bob and I know you've talked about this many times, but you know, this viewer sent an email to Mark Cuban begging him to try to buy the team off of Bob Nutting, and Mark Cuban actually responded and said he makes too much money, he won't sell.
Well,
exact
this goes
quote.
back. I exchanged emails with Cuban 10 years ago, and people were asking him to buy the team, and he wrote back to me, you know, nobody likes to be called a loser, a quitter, a cheapskate, all the names in the book. He goes, but if you're making $25 million a year, you'll take those calls, those nicknames, whatever people want to call you if you're making that kind of money. And I think they're making more than that over there now. I don't think the Pirates are going to be sold anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It doesn't sound like it, and I don't care how many petitions are out there and how many people sign those petitions. Bob Nutting's not selling the team.
Nope.
And they'll continue to operate the way they do. I mean, he stood out there in front of us, answered those questions the way he wanted to answer those questions. He didn't answer them the way, I don't know, maybe he thinks they're truthful, but he answered all the questions the way that he wanted to answer them. You don't see him too often in Pittsburgh, at least I don't see him.
Nope,
I mean, he lives in West Virginia, so this is kind of, it's, you know, out of sight, out of mind. And, you know, other than if he's not on social media, it's not bothering him.
I think he felt the need to speak on behalf. When McCutchen is traded, he's the face of the franchise. I don't think he was around for Garrett Cole. I don't know when we're going to see him again. I'll give him credit for at least standing up and answering the questions. Whether you like his answers or not are another matter.
All right, we got to take a break. Back, I want to hear your comments, Ron, on Randy Fichtner. He officially got the job today. It was rumored that he would probably take over, and now it's official. The Steelers promoted him to offensive coordinator. He will retain the quarterback coaching job. We'll have Ron's thoughts on that and your thoughts. Give us a call, 412-575-2600. Coming up next. Stay right there.